guys. We are the Crazy Hope Dealers, and today we're going to talk about relationships. Um, do we all struggle with relationships? Yes, we absolutely do. There's nobody, I think, on earth that has got relationships exactly right. You know, Jesus, our maker, is the only one who, is love. And so he, lived his life in love, and that was perfect. But for us, not so perfect. And just, I want to talk about relationships today because we, I've had in my past a lot of relationship problems. And I have one of my children that's just perfect with relationships. She did not get it from me. She definitely didn't get it from me. And she just thinks about people daily. She thinks about, what can she do to brighten their life. She'll send texts, she calls people. And her favorite thing, which I think it's her love language, is gifts. And she really just will be in a store looking at something for herself and go, oh my goodness, let me text, so and so and see if they have this already because they would love this. And so she'll take a picture of it and she'll send it to her friend, and they'll go, "Oh my goodness, I haven't seen that." And so she'll just buy it and she'll give it to her friend. Um, some people that comes natural to. That is not me. And I feel like, I just wanted to talk about relationships today because so many people are lacking in good relationships. Um, Honestly, there was something I saw recently about if you have just one good friend in your life, you are wealthy. And I don't mean like money wise wealthy, I just mean rich in relationships. I don't believe that you need to just have one. I think you need to be friends with lots of people, but not just surface friends. And that is something that you say hi to somebody, maybe you see them on Facebook and you just put a little, message out to them. Those are surface friends. Um, and I think, we just, because of phones, Amy mentioned this earlier, because of phones and because of computers, we just feel like we can text or email or type something out, regardless of what the repercussions are going to be of it, and we just send it out to somebody because we're not face to face. We're not making relationships and seeing what their expressions are, seeing if they're hurt. We just say things because it's easier to say things and deal with the consequences later because you won't have to if you're on a screen. And that's why a lot of people are struggling today with communication. And just, I think that God wanted us to have relationships. I know He wanted us to have relationships. He had relationships, and He went out and met the people, talked to the people. He did all kinds of things to where, you may not think He should have gone some places in the Bible to talk to people, but He did because He cared. And I think we need to get back to basics on relationships, and be intentional is the first thing that we need to do. If we're not somebody, like I'm not, I just get in my own little world and I have out my schedule of what I need to do with work. And sometimes I just forget that there's other people in the world. Well, if I put it in my calendar, text so and so or call so and so, then I'm being intentional about it. And if those people are on your heart, we need to be more intentional about it. Now, Amy is my friend and I love her to death, but am I intentional about things a lot of times with Amy? Amy, you can shake your head no. So I really feel like I'm not very good with relationships, but in my heart, it's kind of like a different thing. It's like, Amy's my friend, I love her, but in my heart, I feel like we're all good, but sometimes we may not be all good because I don't reach out. And so that's just something I feel like not just me struggles with, but other people struggle with that. And we have to stop thinking about ourselves so much in our world and start reaching out to people. Um, so Amy, is there things, in your life with relationships that you feel like you need to work on or things maybe you're doing right that you would like to share with people?
Doing right. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about doing right. That's the thing is that it takes a lot of work um to be friends with people. I've had friends since I mean, I still have my friends from uh I've known since high school. It's been over 30 plus years that we still keep in touch with. Are we in touch all the time? No. But we text more, and I think just because we're getting older, we text more, just trying to be in each other's lives. Have some of my friends gone on, they've gone on with their lives, they got married, they have children. Sad to say, do I know some of their children? No, I don't. Um, when you live in different parts of the world, it's kind of hard. And the only communication sometimes that you have is text or FaceTime or, whatever communication that you can do. And so it's hard. It's hard to keep up a relationship. But some of the things I've noticed, my husband went to school at Auburn University for a class this past semester, and he said one thing, when he was in school at Auburn, he said there's a part of the campus where the kids would hang out before class or after class. And he said they would just be doing all kinds of stuff, just crazy, crazy stuff. But they would be standing around in groups, talking, singing, whatever, doing acrobats, whatever. And he said this school, which he hadn't been in school over 30 years, he said that he went out there to the quad and looked, and there was there. All the kids now were just on their phones like this, and they weren't even having talks. He said it was quiet, nobody was doing anything, and he was saying how shocked he was. And I thought, wow, that is so true. It's so easy to pick up your phone and just do this and say, how are you? It's harder now for somebody to type in a phone number and get on the phone because you're thinking this person's going to keep me on the phone for a long time, or I only have 5 minutes, or I whatever, you know what I'm saying? So we think in that way. And my mother is the way that the older generation communicates is they get on the phone. They don't understand. They may understand email, but they don't understand texting. They don't understand all this stuff. They would rather. So my mother, she'll stay on the phone at night with people um, that she went to school with or family members or whatever. And so I appreciate that about her. She doesn't send me text. She calls me and lets me know what's going on. And I really do appreciate that. I appreciate it when a friend calls me and thinks enough of me to have, even if they just have 2 or 3 minutes FaceTime with me so I could just see their face. There's this whole thing of, oh my goodness, it's easy to text somebody something and they take it the wrong way. They get offended and you have no idea that you have offended them. We're, the land of the offended. So anyway, but that's the reason why, like on Facebook or something like that, when first Facebook came out, you know, um, I was on all the time and I would say stuff and people would be like coming after me. And I pretty much don't do that anymore. I'm pretty calm about things that I say, especially like college football stuff, I say very minimal stuff about that because people get so offended and they can't see my face and what, I may think is a joke. They can't see that in a text.
Mhm.
No. So anyway.
That's true. And, I think the face-to-face thing is very important because there's, we all just want to be accepted and loved. That's really all of us. No matter if if you're hard on the outside and say, no, I don't need anybody to love me or I don't need anybody to care. Yes, you do. Everybody does. And without the face-to-face relationships, you don't get to talk to people deeply and find out, they may have said something to you to offend you, but if you leave it at that, your imagination comes up with all kinds of ways of why they said that. Those aren't necessarily the right things that they're thinking, and they may have just typed it wrong. It may have just come across wrong. But if you don't have that face-to-face relationship and say, hey, I got your text the other day. Um, can you explain a little bit about that? Because I don't, I didn't understand exactly where you're coming from. If you do that, then they can explain it. Maybe they did mean it the way that they said it on the text. But unless you talk about it, you're not going to, figure that out. You're not going to get a deeper understanding of that person. And you're just kind of going to leave it and then form your own opinions. And then who knows, that friendship could be severed because of something you've made up in your head. So I think, I think it's good to text. Like in my mind, I think it's, you know, I'm thinking of you, I'm texting you at the moment. Um, there's a lot of people in different situations that have, like I have something with my in-laws that they are just not, I mean, they come over at a moment's notice. They, demand a lot more attention right now at their age, with their mental issues that they have. And so texting, if I don't text, then I might not get around to it because there's something else that's going to come up. So I think, we all need to be intentional about it. If you love somebody in your life, you need to, first of all, tell them that. You can tell them that, by phone call, you can tell them that by text. You can, make time for them because really, if you don't make time for people, they do form their own opinions of how what's going on with y'all's relationship, and then they leave. And that's something that, I've had to deal with within my life because, I mean, I'm not using, attention deficit for a crutch, but a lot of times in the present and what's going on right in front of you is what you're thinking about, and you're not thinking about other things. And so if I don't have my calendar set up, exactly what I'm doing each day, nothing gets done. I just kind of am flying around during the day. And so I think that we as Christians or just as, good people, we need to be friends with people, but not just on a surface level. We need to find the people that are important to us. We need to cultivate that relationship, and we need to put it in our calendar daily or every other day or weekly, whatever your relationship is, and you need to make time for that person that's important to you. Because that's, we're here on earth for just a short time. And if we don't live our life, our one life, good and make rich relationships, then we don't have anything. We're lonely. And my favorite, I know it's just the Christmas season has just gone by, but I absolutely love It's a Wonderful Life. And that, I mean, I've watched it every year since I've been, I don't know, 12, who knows. And every year I cry at the end because I'm thinking, he thought he had nothing in his life. But then in the end, when he really needed help, he was rich with all of his friends that came through and helped him out when he needed it. So don't keep to yourself. Don't, think that you've got everything together, because there's going to be a time in everyone's life to where you're going to need people and relationships and friends. And if you're not building those, then it's just going to die away and you're not going to have any. So, Amy, did you have any other?
Well, to each person, you have a love language, and I think as I get time equals love. That's absolutely true. And that's what I tell my son. I'm like, you need to spend 20 minutes with me. That tells me you love me. I don't need presents. So for each person, it's different. It's absolutely different. But you need to understand what a person's love language is, and like Brandi was saying, cultivate that. It's just like, if you want to grow roses, then you're gonna have to have some acid in that soil. So you got to spend time working in that soil, get out all the stuff. And it takes time. It takes time to get a beautiful thing of roses. So it all depends on what you want. If you want to um, be standoffish and be by yourself and all of this, then that's what you're going to sow. But if you want something beautiful, um, being vulnerable with somebody, having that person to understand you, that takes a lot of time and understanding and grace and all this sort of stuff. It's just a cultivating kind of thing. So anyway, yeah.
No, I think that's kind of a good we all have that to work on. And like Amy said, definitely everybody has their love language. And that's why we're made differently, so we can reach and be friends with different people. If we were all the same, we would all be the same. I mean, and God didn't want us all to be the same. So, so just, if we could give some encouragement today, just go out, and when you're out and about, speak to one person. Don't make it weird. Just, hey, I like your sweater. That's a beautiful sweater. Where'd you get that? Just do something, because that person may have never had anybody speak anything nice to them, and you're the one person that day that did. So just go out and talk to your one person today. If you can do more, do definitely more. But we just need to be out there and to make relationships and to let people know that they matter and they care. So as always, subscribe to our channel. And if you need to email us about anything, just email us below. But y'all have a great afternoon, and we'll see you on the next one.